they need caressing, because after they leave the studio, they go on a journey and they find homes in other places. If I ever get to see them, it's a miracle.
My name is Cecilia Vicuña, and I am a poet and an artist. I am telling you stories of my exhibition, Migranta Blue Nipple. This exhibition recreates a Latin American universe as it was in the 60s and 70s, that perhaps doesn't exist anymore, but wants to exist. The story really begins with the military coup in Chile, which was on September 11th, 1973. I was studying art in London when this happened, so I went to Colombia, and Colombia was an explosion of creativity. It healed my soul to encounter the vibrancy of the people, the vibrancy of the popular culture. And when I arrived in Bogota, I lived in this extreme poverty, so I bought a big roll of wrapping paper, of brown wrapping paper, and I could paint these almost 2 meters tall pastels that were not really pastels, they were chalk, and they disappeared. And so that's how I decided to paint them again. If you are a Latin American woman, your work is always dismissed, always destroyed. So to paint them again is a way of saying we're here, despite the erasure. Plus now, this universe of what Latin America was in the 60s and 70s, it was a world of beauty and a revolutionary world, in the sense that we created a revolution without violence, and a revolution within the rule of law. That is exactly what the world needs now, and we had done it in the 70s. And so this beauty wants to re-emerge constantly. It's not an act of nostalgia from my perspective. It's an act of defiance, in a way, to say, we were this, we can still be this. We still are this, in our souls. Our bodies have not forgotten. When I was living in Bogota, one day I read that the Trans-Amazonic Highway is being built. And I said, I'm going to hitchhike from Bogota to Rio de Janeiro. And so that's how I ended up crossing the Amazon by land. It took 2 months. And in that journey, I encountered the devotion of the people for the gods that they had brought with them from Africa. And they call them the orishas. Orishas are deities, or they are spirit forces. And so in this exhibition, you see a combination of Christian saints interpreted by me in a way that never existed before, but it connects with the popular representations of these gods or these saints. If you look at the aesthetics, and in this exhibition, we're putting together several kinds of aesthetics that are contrary to each other from the perspective of the Western mind. But I don't go by that system. I don't think that way. I don't feel that way. So for me, the precariousness of the oil is just a matter of degrees in relation to the precariousness of a little piece of debris, you see. My oils, precious oils from the perspective of the West, were discarded and thrown away exactly like my little precarious sculpture. The precarious art was born for me in the 60s, in the mid-60s. So the arte precario is really a way of speaking to the elements, speaking to the light, speaking to the wind, to the sand, to the basura, the debris itself. When they invited me to be part of the Venice Biennale, my thoughts went immediately to the lagoon, because I knew that a human culture arrived in that lagoon thousands and thousands of years ago, and I saw that there was a line of ancestral fishermen communities unbroken all the way from the ancient past of Venice to today, and that they're still struggling to save the lagoon. So that's why I requested that for the course of a year, different volunteers would gather debris from the lagoon. The installation created itself, and that's why it's called Naufraga, which means shipwreck, because we are the ones who are shipwrecking ourselves through our idiocy, our greed, our infinite stupidity. Just as we are good at creating beauty, we are good at creating the opposite, the extermination of beauty. It's such a beautiful thing when you pick up something that has been, destroyed, damaged, disregarded, discarded, and you touch it, and it's just beauty itself. And this beauty is infinite, and it's everywhere, and we're trashing it. And we trash it exclusively because we don't feel it. And so for me, that transforms everything. And I continue to live in that state of mind, in that mode of existence that the debris taught me. The wind and the sea taught me. They said, this is what we really are. When I was a young girl and I heard, that's, I suppose, what art is to hear this knowing that is not prescribed, controlled, designed by forces other than your soul, other than your being, other than your senses, Art is a form of deep human rebellion. A rebellion that wants joy and wants freedom and wants to discover and explore. What if I do this? What if I move this way? What if I change it around? And that's another form of infinite.